I'm not just here because of song and dance and funny things and all that. I'm here to live and enjoy what this world has to offer. But I realized that I'm struggling with just that because what I found out is I fell in this thing called a survival mode. I know, survival mode. What that means is that I'm not willing to come out of my comfort zone. I'm not willing to take on any new thing. I just want to keep going with what I feel works for me. And that can be a dangerous place, fam, because of the fact that when you stay still and become stagnated, you're not growing. You're not taking new adventures. You're just sitting there and going with whatever's tossed your way. That happens a lot, especially if you find yourself that you felt that you've given all you could to energy and encouragement and research or whatever to make a better life for yourself or better situations, and the decision that you're making always ends up on a negative versus a positive. It doesn't seem like it brings the fruits that you're looking for, so you best say, hey, you know what? I'll just sit back and just run with it as it comes. I'll just take it for what it is. Survival mode. When you stop sitting and taking challenges and you stop sitting up here and say that this can get better if I try, when you stop trying, then you just do what normally comes and flies by today. And we do this in our work, and we do it in our job, and we do it in our activities, because it's easy for us to be in a safe environment, because that safe environment sometimes doesn't bring in a level of stress that I would get by going out of my comfort zone. I'm a firm believer that sometimes you have to become uncomfortable, to become comfortable. Meaning that I have to go through the trials, the struggles, the adjustments in order to reach the goals and objectives that I have for my life, the ones that I made for myself. And survival mode does not give me that option. It tells me that you're just in this box, and that's good enough for now. You're not going to prosper. You're not going to look for opportunities to do more. I'm in a good place. This is good enough for me. Fine. That's what you encourage yourself. But then when people start talking about their achievements, their goals, and things that they have and how they excel, now you feel bad because you felt like I could have put more effort in the time, and maybe I would be saying the same story. Or you wait till you get low in the game when everything is going into a negative spiral, then you sit back and say, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Or if I decided to do this, or if I did this. We don't want to be in that, because that's what survival mode does to you. Survival mode to me is a punishment. Yeah, you may not think it is, but it's a punishment somewhere down the road because you stop seeking growth. You stop seeking decision making. It's whatever comes your way, you just say, I'll take that. And by doing so, you're robbing yourself of the possibilities of expanding to new knowledge, new wisdom, and achievements. You're sitting back and you're letting the world throw things at you, and you're just saying, I adapt with it, instead of you putting up a shield and say, you know what, I'm going to buff some of these off. I'm going to block a few of these things. I am going to achieve ABC. I'm just sitting back and say, whatever comes my way. I think that's the danger of survival mode. I think that's the place where many of us get into it due to hurt, due to pain, due to the lack of knowledge and education, the lack of participation, or our emotions are so out of order that we're just sitting here saying the best way to deal with this is just not to deal with it. And I don't know, you all, from a psychological lens, which one is better for you? The one that sits back and just say, I'm not going to do anything, or the one that sits back and say, I'll just let it flow the way it flows, and whatever happens, happen. I'm at the mercy of whatever comes my way. I believe in both cases, both of them are wrong, because I don't think neither one of them works for the betterment of someone who is striving to be successful, somebody striving to be existing, and somebody that may feel that there are greater things to achieve. We have it in our mind. But because of life's turns and spirals, I've known one of my clients who just recently got divorced and threw in the towel. He was done. He said, this is too much. I can't get here. I can't get there. It just fell apart. Why? Because his whole life was built around the relationship. And when the relationship went to the left, he went to the left with it. He lost his motive. He lost his encouragement. And he was emotional imbalance. It wasn't until we had a sit down talk and I showed him that due to the divorce or the impact of divorce, you went into a survival mode And if you're not careful, you'll fall into different levels. And I'm not going to put a label on it, but a lot of people who are in survival mode do find a struggle when it comes to their emotional balance, and definitely some of their, to be honest, their mental thoughts. And they fall into what they say, depression or anxiety, and all those things come about is because they're just existing. I don't want anybody here to just exist. I want you to find that reason for why you do what you do, to be encouraged. And I talked about that in one of my previous videos. I was talking about our why. Then I talked about a system that works with your why. And now I'm telling you how to pull yourself out of survival mode. You say, well, how do you do that? The way you pull yourself out of survival mode is simple. You have a reason to live, and you have a reason to be successful. Now, the level of success that you're seeking may not be the one that your neighbor have or a friend have. Your level of success may be just be in a place where you pass existence, where you're taking things by force. For example, as they say, take the bull by the horns. You're saying, you know what? I'm coming out of this one step at a time. For the client that I told you was going through divorce, he had to refine himself. And what I mean by that, he had to understand that there was a reason why the divorce had to happen, whatever reason was, but then divorce is now an afterthought. What are we doing now for success? What are we doing to get past here? What are we doing to try to get to this next level? That's what we had to bring back to him. Why he exists. He didn't exist to be a broken person due to the marriage. What he's created is an atmosphere where he has his kids, and he says, you know what? I'm going to be a good role model for them. I'm going to show them that after the divorce, I still can be the great dad that I was during the marriage. I can sit back and still drive forward and try to encourage you all not to let the separation of mom and dad stop you from reaching those levels and goals. Better yet, we're going to fortify it and work harder, because just because we're in two separate homes doesn't mean that you're going to be lacking for anything. Once he started grabbing and pulling that, he came out of that survival mode or that early form of depression or anxiety. He came out of that saying, you know what? I have something to live for. I have a reason to push. And if the kids or the changes that he was thinking about was that, he found it and he moved on. Now, that could be hard. And I'm not saying everybody who's go through a divorce or anything traumatic like that can say the same thing. But he was able to show me that, you know what, with a little coaching and a little encouragement, I can find my reason again. I can identify my why or establish my why and get past this. He had the chance to look at this big picture, and his picture was, his why was around the marriage. His why wasn't for his personal growth. Now, I do believe you can have more than one why, but he had to find the why that fitted him, the reason why he is who he is. And once he identified that is, and whatever resources and sources that he used to encourage himself, he began to slowly get back onto this place. Let it be known, the testimonies that I can share for you, he was already an executive, but he ended up leaving his job, starting his own business, and now he's doing some great things that he really enjoys. Now, I do not know if the level of finances were the same. I don't know, but he's found happiness. When I talk to him about his life, when we have our sessions, he's always talking about the more encouragement things he's doing. He's stabbing out there and doing new adventures that he wouldn't have done. He's doing rock climbing for some reason. I don't know why he's doing that, but this is his reason. He wanted to get out there and be physically fit and healthy enough to go out and do different things. So he and his sons are going on trips more regularly than what they did before, and that has inspired him. So he's working harder to create more revenue so that him and his sons can go and do things that maybe they wouldn't have done due to the marriage or due to the relationship. I don't know, not going down that road, but I do know that he has done a complete turnaround. And he tells me all the time, he is so grateful that he's came out of the survival mode into this new energized mode, he calls it, where he's inspired to do more. And it's working for him. Maybe that's what you're looking for. Maybe you need that spark, that energy, or that realignment of getting back to what you used to be, and then passing it, excelling past that to what your vision of who you are and what you are. And that leads us to our next thing. Our next thing that we want to talk about is realistic goals and objectives. Realistic reasons why you create a why. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that soon. But before we move to that video, I want you, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that like. Please put your comments in. Let's talk about these things. Maybe through your conversation, I can find other conversations to talk about what we can change and what to introduce to others in hopes that it makes it better for you. But right now, I want to tell you to go to the next video and let's talk about realistic goals and objectives. Realistic goals and objectives.